if I had nothing, how would it be? And I was inspired by the Experience Me Truth by Gandhi. It's his autobiography, fascinating book, which he uses his own life as a laboratory. And also the autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Those two books inspired me to try to, move away and be in silence, being quiet, trying to understand the universe. Look at the pretension. Anyway, I decided to, again, hitchhike down to the south of Spain, cross over to Morocco, and I started walking on a road towards the city of Tangier. It's right on the Straits of Gibraltar on the African side. I found an old Spanish fort, because that part of Africa was actually colonized by Spain in the past. I said, this is interesting. This is the place, because there's a stream nearby. I just swept it out and moved in. There was no bed. There was nothing really, except water. I had no idea where the food would come from. And as those old stories, the only thing I really couldn't renounce was my guitar. I would give it up, everything except my guitar, which actually ended up saving my skin, because I didn't know it at the time, but the local people, it was next door to a grave of a Muslim saint, and they thought this is crazy character. In fact, in those days, young people were they looked like people out of the Old Testament, beard and long hair and everything. I had one set of Moroccan clothes, I got that, and I was just there meditating every day. They thought this is interesting. So they, through sign language, they ended up coming to sort of an understanding that I would start to play. They saw the guitar and they made signs that you play. They said, go play something. And then they said, come with us. And I went with them to their village. They had the most amazing jam sessions you can imagine. Absolutely mind-blowing music every Saturday. So I'd go and play with them every Saturday, and they would bring some food. So that was sorted out. I was already a vegetarian. And every day I had not that I had nothing, I had actually some books with me. The Dhammapada, which is the main Buddhist scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, some of the Upanishads, which are like dialogues between masters and disciples. I had a copy of the New Testament and the Quran. So I would be reading and trying to, meditating, reading, and in silence. I spent almost 6 months alone and in silence. Didn't speak to anyone. And it gave me a lifelong love for silence, yes. But as I went further and further into this quest, I became more and more confused. Because if you look at the different scriptures, they're pretty much saying the same thing. And I was thinking, man, how come these scriptures say similar things and people fight with each other? There are wars about interpretations of things. I had always, even since I was about 15, I had an interest in comparative religions. So I was pretty weird as a kid, I went to a special school here in Sydney. And that was for high IQ kids. It was a government experiment. So I don't know what that means. education, basically. I was 10 years old and I was learning how to conduct debates. You know, we would write, instead of the usual lessons, writing poetry, playing chess, having debates, that's what the education was. It was pretty neat. Not regular at all. And that gave me introduction to the classics like Plato and Aristotle and this one and that one. So there's a lot of background, but I was also very, very confused. The more that I learnt, the more confused I became. So I decided to go back to London, that I vowed never to go back to. And I moved in with back with some friends with whom I'd been living before. One of them was actually Charlie. And a couple of weeks after I arrived, I noticed Charlie and this other guy getting up. Where are you going this time of day? We're going to Raj Yoga Meditation Center. Really? Can I come? So I went with them at 6 o'clock in the morning one day. And we came to a Brahma Kumari Center. Now, I can't explain it, but the feeling was that I'd arrived home. It was more the vibration than anything else. So it seemed very, this sort of introspective tradition that I'd been building on really ended up helping a lot. And after a few months, I came back to Australia. And the centre they had here folded, and so I was alone actually. There weren't any others. I could have just folded up and done nothing. But I started a centre here I found a job in a centre in the same week, a house, in early 1976. And started centre, Brahma Kumari Centre in Sydney. I didn't ask for permission, I wrote to the headquarters saying, hey, I'm going to start a centre. Didn't ask for permission. I didn't even know that we needed permission, to tell the truth. But we started. And so one thing, then they asked me to go to Brazil. So this feeling was on one side, I had this surging up of things, and when I look at the title here, to the search for something better, no one else and nothing can substitute the respect that I have to have for myself. No matter how much you seek others' approval or situations in which you feel good, in fact, it's not the situation that makes you feel good, it's how you are in the situation that makes you feel good. It's not who we are, it's not who we're with or where we are, but how we are, where we are, who we're with. And I was learning that little by little. I've been in so many situations where everything external just wasn't helpful at all. The only thing I could hold on to was a real sense of self. So this idea that we have to become something is actually part of the cell of religious or spiritual seeking. But I don't have to become something that I'm not. I have to become who I am. And who I am already exists. Right? It's not. I don't have to invent it. A purpose in life is not something you invent, it's something you discover. And if I understand myself as a spiritual being, and especially if I understand that my basic quality is peace, let's say, what does a peaceful being do? Huh? If you're a peaceful being, what does a peaceful being do?
Anything peacefully.
Yeah, anything peacefully. If you understand that love is one of your basic characteristics, what does a loveful being do? Loves. So it's not a big deal, really. You know, people bash their heads to try to discover their purpose in life. You know, the purpose already exists. What you have to do is to understand how to use that primary purpose. You know, I want everyone to choose some item in this room, any item, anything that you can see. Anything? Got it? Got something? What did you choose?
Clock.
What's the purpose of a clock?
Perfect time.
What did you choose?
I chose that lamp.
So what's the purpose of a lamp?
I like the light.
Yeah, it's light. What did you choose?
Saving
Yeah, the light. Who else chose light? Yeah, probably it's no brainer, right? But the things that exist, what they are and what they do is obvious. You don't see a light pretending that it's a chair, right? Or a pen thinking that it's the door. Right? Let's see, you see the plant getting up and walking out because this is not its place. Everything that is what it is and does what it does. So what about me? Why is it such a big deal? It's because we have confused ourselves with our story, maybe. Just think about this. You were all talking about, so I was just talking about a story, my story. But I'm not the story, huh? I was the actor in this sequence of scenes, but I'm not the story. In fact, that story is one of many stories. Each life we understand is like a chapter of a book. Yeah. So each time that we, go through something, we try to we get so much attached to what we've done. But I exist before, during and after what I do. This is something we need to work on and practice. If I can separate, and this is that story that I told in the beginning, and when I was suddenly thrust out of, and I was looking at the body and I was looking at the mind even, that's the real me. I understood that later on. That real me, in fact, is already free. Yeah. But it's like hooked into so many different memories and things and people, relationships and situations, what I'm going to do, who am I going to be, and this and that. And we get lost in the scenes. So meditation is, it's not just observing. Though there are types of meditation that you just observe, but it can go much deeper than that. Meditation, there are about 40 or 50 types of meditation actually, and what we do here is not just observe things, but we understand who is the observer. And we understand what's being observed. So the three, observer, observe, and observed, you have a wider picture of things. So meditation is not about relaxation, it's about transformation. And to transform the way we look at things and the way we see things, first of all, I have to understand who is doing the observing. I've done a lot over the years to prepare books and things. I've done so much research into different areas. And most lately, I've been working on a YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram channel called Live and Meditate. And I did a series on meditation and anxiety, just to illustrate how things are. So maybe if we could have this flip chart up here in front, I'll show you something. It's pretty neat. If you look at the ancient hieroglyphs in Egypt, they knew about it. The so-called Eye of Horus, have a look at it. It's exactly the brain. You have the thalamus, you have the hypothalamus, you've got the corpus callosum and all that, you've got the medulla. Now, what happens? Let's just take the fear or anxiety pathway. There's a part of the brain more or less here. It's a bit too big actually. It's smaller than that. Called the amygdala. Like an almond-shaped little organ, which is the fear response center. So when there's fear, amygdala lights up. It goes here. There's another part called the hippocampus, which is which codifies the threats as sort of ingrained memories, right? They're sort of codified there. And there's another little fellow called the thalamus, which is here. So what happens is this information comes in, dog is attacking you. Dog is about to bite you, right? So amygdala does all its little bit, it codifies, and sends a signal to the thalamus to liberate adrenaline, cortisol, noradrenaline, and these other things, which actually make the heart pump faster to send oxygen to the muscle, so you've got a burst, right? So you can run away from the dog, right? The thing is that if you're not aware of yourself as a spiritual being giving life to the body is like hanging off you, in a sense. If you were not there, your body's dead. Someone was talking about death before. Yeah? You, the spiritual being, we are spiritual beings going through a human experience and not human beings looking for a spiritual one. So it's not a quest. It's an understanding. I have to understand I am the spiritual being. Now, the seat of that spiritual being, more or less, in so if it's just, if the spiritual being gives life to the body, so even if it's not aware of itself, it gives life to the body. So it's a pretty powerful thing, right? You know, you've got, in your body, you have, I don't know how to calculate this, you've got 37 trillion cells. Okay. Each cell has 100 trillion atoms. Can't even conceive of such a number. So the number of atoms in your body is 3.7 times 10 to the 27th. An unconceivable number. But those atoms, right, have formed together around this spiritual being, that they would not agglomerate if the spiritual being wasn't there. They would just float. They just go off to whatever they go off to. And there's something else. There's not one atom in your body which is the same as it was 5 years ago. Not one is the same one. Every time you breathe, every time you go to the bathroom, every time you eat and, drink and then again go to the bathroom. So there's an exchange going on all the time. So the spiritual being holds this together in a form that we call the body. If it goes out, that form has no reason for existing, and the cells can't stay together, and little by little the light goes out in each cell. You can get a dead body 5 minutes after it's dead, you'll see each cell still working, right? But there's nothing that holds it together in that familiar shape that you see in the mirror, right? Anyway, you're not even aware of yourself. Still, your being in the body gives life to it. Not only that, sort of regulates the metabolism, because lots of systems are autonomous, don't require your wisdom, right? Like you're not saying to the liver, hey liver, today I want you to do this or that, Hey heart, come on, I want you to pump faster. There's a lot of things going on without your involvement, except your existence counts. If you were not there, they wouldn't continue. Some of the limbs especially, you can say, okay, finger, get up. Okay, leg, move. But you can't do that with everything. So even, just not even aware that you're a spiritual being or not aware of anything, you're still giving life to your body. Even the ones that don't believe that they are spiritual beings are spiritual beings. They're just spiritual beings who don't know that they are. The fact is that people don't believe in God doesn't mean that God doesn't exist, right? Just means that they don't believe. Anyway, what happens, So if you're thinking of this blob of matter moving around, that's what most people think. They've got no idea of what the role of the soul is in the body. So there's a hunk of matter moving around. You've got no control. Zero. You've got no control of this process. So what happens is, dog comes, fear flares up, response is there. There's no involvement. There's no conscious involvement in the process. Now, anxiety, this is the pathway of anxiety. And people are pumping adrenaline into their system. If you're anxious, and almost 4% of the world population suffer from some anxiety syndrome, I don't know if you're one of them, the range of drugs that are most sold at the moment are connected with anxiety. So the drug, big pharma, they call it, is very, very happy that people are becoming anxious. And anxiety is related to uncertainty. Even though the crime rate in the US has gone down, anxiety is spiking because of uncertainty. The possible war, you can go to McDonald's and some idiot comes in and starts to shoot everyone. The people are anxious. And so you're at the mercy of your body. If you're not aware of who you are, you're at the mercy of your body, you're at the mercy of your brain chemistry. Yeah? But what happens if you take control? What happens? What happens if this little fella here It's actually, the pineal is just it's a very tiny little thing. It's called pineal because it's shaped like a pine cone. Very tiny, tiny little gland. But it's the seat of the soul. And when those scientists were sort of, every time they'd see someone praying or meditating, they saw this little light come up. But there was so much other stuff going on in those brains that they could hardly make it out that it was different. So what would happen if you became fully conscious of who you are as a spiritual being, giving life to this otherwise dead thing? What would happen if you would actually, and this in the past they called illumination, right? You would give life to every single cell. You would give light, actually, to every single cell. All of this thing that, you call your body. And of course, you would have a different effect on your own thing. And so, the object of Raj Yoga meditation is to become fully conscious of who you are. Couldn't say it in better words. Fully conscious of what and who you are. And therefore you become very fully conscious of what you have to do. If I'm a peaceful being, I'm going to put peace in everything I do. If I'm a loveful being, I'm going to love. If I'm a contented being, I'm going to just content my way forward. So I don't have to get something. I have to become something. It's there in your fire. Yeah. Now, since it's a chit-chat sort of thing, I don't know if you've got any questions, anything to comment, but please feel free. I just use this as an example. The difference between being conscious and not conscious. You can say, hey, amygdala, slow down. Hey, adrenaline, don't pump so much. People are detonating their bodies because adrenaline, for example, is useful for fleeing dangerous situations. It's absolutely essential, actually. But not the whole day, 24/7. That's why people get ill. The brain gets Alzheimer's after some, 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years of bombarding their own system with adrenaline and stuff because of worry. Every time you get worried, you're breathing. And if you were wired up, you would notice what's going on. Your heart starts to beat fast to you. What's happening is that you're just pumping adrenaline when you don't really need it. And you get ill. You'll get ill. And one fine day, we just piffle out. So you got anything to ask or say or to comment or to, share? So we're coming to the end, yeah?
For 6 months, when you didn't have anyone to talk to, or, you were in silence, as you said, didn't that worry you?
No, really, I was pretty much, as I said, a fairly odd character. And I don't know, I had absolutely, had total confidence that everything would be okay. It doesn't matter. So I figured that if I could live without anything, I'd be able to live with anything. I don't know if you get me. So I wasn't worried at all,
So
even with the next,
It wasn't tough for you?
anyone to talk to.
Wasn't tough for you.
No. I was enjoying it. It was a huge adventure. I wouldn't recommend it though. But I spent, this was a huge adventure, really. Everything was wonderful.
I'm just wondering, how do you know the exact qualities of your inner being? Because it could range from contentment to love to peace, this whole range of qualities.
How do you know? Well, as I said, it's difficult to define those things. In the beginning, I was talking about that. The thing of when I go into deep state of meditation, right, what happens is the physical identity falls away. All of those things, those characteristics. For example, I'm not the body, I have a body. It's relatively easy to move away from the body consciousness. I'm not any of the roles that I have. I'm the actor. It's more difficult to move away from the roles. But I'm not the story either. That I was like this and this happened and that happened and so on and so forth. I'm carrying a story in my head so big. And I'm so absorbed in my own story that I can't see, as I say, I can't see the forest for the trees. So if I can move away from the story even, I move away from the body, I move away from the roles, I move away from the story itself, but I still exist. How am I? If there are none of those anchors weighing me down, there's a feeling of great lightness. There's a feeling of unlimited love. Actually, everything, you know. Because you've moved away from all those conditioning things, you become unconditional. So whether you call it love or what, it's just a feeling of I don't know, spiritual greatness. And in that, you'll find that there's peaceful, because there's nothing ruffles you.